Yo, okay, so I'm going to talk about how to come up with a unique mechanism for a health offer. And we're going to pick a memory or brain offer. You may, depending on when this video started recording, you may have seen Amazon up there. Because I was thinking about if I wanted to do it for a pre existing supplement, but I don't. I think what I want to do is find a unique mechanism where we would be creating the product, and the product could either be, in this case, like a nutritional guide, or which is going to have eating for a healthier brain, or it could be a supplement. So product, supplement, or nutritional guide, and basically you could actually have this work in either way. So let's go with category brain memory. Sweet. So really, I mean, to be completely honest with you, here's what I would do. I'll go to Science Daily. If you haven't been to Science Daily, I'm actually going to move this over here because it's just more natural for me. Let's start here. So I love Science Daily. It's basically got all interesting new discoveries and findings and things like that. Right now, of course, lots of COVID stuff going on. To be completely honest with you, this is interesting. Right, open a new tab here. Where in the brain does creativity come from? Just looking through anything else that might be interesting. Brain research, kind of interesting. I'm just curious about this really quick. This treatment relieves depression in 90% of cases. Kind of interesting. Mind and brain, whole category. You already know amyloid is a target for prevention of Alzheimer's, which makes sense. But now really at that point, let's go like this. I'm just going to search like memory. And we're going to get a bunch of interesting articles, and then I'm going to open those all as like new tabs too, basically. So good supply, blood supply is good for memory. This looks like something I'm not going to be interested in, that cereal consumption helps to prevent memory loss. This would be interesting for a self-help thing. In a new study, researchers report they can manipulate how the brain encodes and retains emotional memories. Brain's astrocytes play a starring role in long-term memory. This is very interesting because I don't know what astrocytes are. Exercise boosting memory is interesting, but probably not going to go too deep on that. This idea of a genetic switch boosting hardwired memory is kind of interesting. Open a tab for that. Sleep improving memory is interesting, but I'm going to skip that. How the brain's immune system could be harnessed to improve memory, very interesting. Kind of interesting. Monitor brains to replay memories in real time. This vitamin D one's a little interesting. Tickling the brain with electrical stimulation improves memory, kind of interesting. This is very interesting. Hot flashes impair memory performance. If I was targeting that demographic, which is a good demographic, I'd be interested in that. Interesting kind of chimpanzees working memory similar to ours. That's very interesting. Memories transferred between organisms. I don't know if you know that's gonna work for a supplement, but I gotta open it because it's just interesting to me. So let's just start with that. So we have a bunch of articles, obviously, right? So what am I gonna do here? This is the one I opened kind of randomly. But where in the brain does creativity come from? Evidence from jazz musicians. What I love about it, okay, the dates is very new. Drexel University. I'm filming this on April 7th, right? This is March 31st that this came out. A new brain imaging study has studied the brain activity of jazz guitarists during improvisation. Show creativity is, in fact, driven primarily by the right hemisphere in musicians who are comparatively inexperienced at improvisation. However, musicians who are highly experienced at improvisation rely primarily on the left hemisphere. So this is interesting, but I don't think it's going to be the mechanism for a supplement or health offer. This is also interesting. It's from Stanford. This idea of observing a ton of brain activity in real time. However, I don't think it's be specifically relevant right now. This one I just wanted to open because I was curious, but again, Stanford's always good. This is really interesting. I wouldn't be doing this for brain supplement, but the fact that Stanford's having all the success treating depression would be something I would probably say for if I ever wanted to do something like around that. Um, we've always heard that amyloid level, or not always, but it's kind of common knowledge that amyloid levels are associated with Alzheimer's. It's from NIH, National Institutes of Aging. Um, I probably wouldn't touch this for a brain supplement though, just because amyloids, are so closely associated with Alzheimer's, and we don't want to make any claims about curing or treating diseases or anything like that. So I probably wouldn't touch this one, even though it is kind of interesting to me. Give me 1 second here. Yeah, I mean, this is definitely a big study in these amyloid levels, but I'm gonna keep that one open, but come back to it. Lifestyle changes could delay memory problems in old age, depending on our genes. This one's kind of looking interesting, right? Researchers have shown that how we respond to changes in nutrients at a molecular level plays an important role in the aging process, and this is directed by some key genetic mechanisms. So they explore the molecular interactions that occur in our response to varying levels of nutrients, otherwise known as nutrient sensing pathways as we get older. So this one I would take and put the link here. And I basically just start copying and pasting stuff like this, what I think is an interesting potential mechanism. Right, so here we've got using a combination of laboratory-based techniques and analysis. Basically, they identified genes that are active in nutrient-sensing pathways and demonstrated these genes also show associations to performance on memory tasks in data of over 2,000 individuals. The studies identified the genes ABTB1 and GRB10 as both influential in nutrient-sensing pathways and showed association in memory. So I would copy and paste that into here too. Previous studies have indicated that neural stem cells in the hippocampal part of the brain play an important role in the decline of our thought process and memory over time. NSCs, aka neural stem cells, are cells that keep dividing as long as they are alive and either make more NSCs or cells that have a special function in the brain. The maintenance of these NSCs is important in memory and is affected by environmental factors such as diet and exercise. So the reason that's interesting is because one potential mechanism here could be like nutrients that support neural stem cells. That alone is not like, frankly, it's pretty easy. So I'm gonna put a note for myself, like SPG note could be looking for nutrients that support neural stem cells. And if I were gonna do that, the next steps would be to get a little more information on neural stem cells, then look at nutrients, ingredients that have been shown to support them. Frankly, I probably am going to do this one because it's frankly easy. But let me read the rest of this real quick here because nutrient sensing pathways can provide, help with stem cell maintenance. Because where this study was talking about genes being a part of this, right? Because you can find something that maybe supports these genes. And I'd probably highlight that as a note for myself too. But honestly, from a mechanism standpoint, you could potentially just do the neural stem cells and not even really talk about the genes or the, 6:30 in the morning, so deal with it. You may just be able to do that without having to talk about the genes or the nutrient sensing pathways really, because our goal at the end of the day is just to get people to understand that this is the key. Right? You could go deeper with genetic stuff here, but I don't know if you really need to. So for now, I'm going to just save this and come back to it and look at a few more mechanism options. And I'm going to get rid of this Alzheimer's one because I like this more. A good blood supply is good for memory. Memory performance and other cognitive abilities benefit from a good blood supply to the brain. This applies in particular to people affected by a condition known as sporadic cerebral small vessel disease. Researchers suggest that blood perfusion of the so-called hippocampus can play a key role in age and disease-related memory problems. Let's see. This is kind of an interesting mechanism too. I wouldn't touch disease, but this idea that basically blood flow to the brain, right, is important. So I would do it kind of again, copy and pasting these here. taking the parts that I think are interesting. Actually, I'll do that whole part here. This is the big takeaway, right? I don't know why that's being highlighted. Let's see what happens. Okay, cool. Yeah, so I mean, and I guess since we're talking about hippocampus and cognitive performance here, then I'll go back up to like right what the hippocampus is. And then, right, what does this mean? Well, let me make a note too. You see, like, bonus health mechanism. So, like, I would even make up a term here, right? Like, so if you're talking about circulation and, like, for the brain, well, because we're talking about blood flow, but if you're talking about, hey, this supposed to increase blood flow to the brain, sounds kind of creepy, right? But if you're talking about circulate, so I'd almost call it like make up term like cognitive circulation or something like that. But mechanism would be basically something like increased blood flow the brain, aka cognitive circulation, supports better memory. My next steps would be prove that's true, that increased blood flow improves memory, find nutrients that increase blood flow to the brain. Right? That'd be the next steps for that one here. So now I've got kind of two different options. There's this one. This one. Let me actually make that a little bit clearer. Alrighty. So that was interesting. I'll keep that over for now too. Remember games, eat well to remember. Give me just a minute here. Alright, so this is kind of interesting that older people eating cereals helps with memory loss, but I just sort of, I don't know, that one's not exciting to me. One thing to note though, by the way, with these, is like this is, right, not like an academic source, but what you'll find is like if you come down, you'll get a link to the actual study, so you just click that, right? Then you'll get these actual studies. So then if you want to cite that in a sales letter or something, you can just do it by clicking that link that was down here, right here. Anyway, I don't care about that one that much. Brain's astrocytes play a starring role in long-term memory. Scientists discovered that astrocytes, long considered sideline players in the brain, are required to establish long-lasting memories in mice. Now, it's an animal study, but it's interesting. It's from the Salk Institute. Star-shaped cells called astrocytes help the brain establish long-lasting memories. The work could inform therapies for disorders in which long-term memory is impaired. So this is kind of interesting. This is kind of a repeat of that, but I'm going to copy and paste it anyway. Because this one is interesting to me because it's like these astrocytes. So what's interesting? Well, this is interesting. Really sports cells and brain maybe be a leading role. This is really interesting. I probably would take this because it's a good quote. The brain's neurons rely on speedy electrical signals to communicate throughout the brain and release neurotransmitters, but astrocytes instead generate signals of calcium and release substances known as glycotransmitters, some of them chemically similar to neurotransmitters. The classical view was that astrocytes' function was mostly to provide support to the most active neurons, helping transport nutrients, clean up molecular debris, and hold neurons in place. Only more recently, researchers have found that they might play other more active roles in the brain through the release of glycotransmitters, but they remain largely mysterious. So let's go and copy and paste that in too. So what's interesting to me, glycotransmitters that are chemically similar to neurotransmitters. I'm not going to make the note here, I'll come back to this, but like, what are glycotransmitters? The question to ask after that, right? Kind of interesting too, 2014, basically they disabled the release of glycotransmitters in astrocytes. Now the issue here with me, this one is just a little complex, right? Because like if we look at how easy it was to be like neuro stem cells, right? Like that was pretty easy. Like the secret to like, you know, memory is supporting neural stem cells. These nutrients help to support them. Here's what happened. That's a very it's not like the real sexiest mechanism, but if you're trying to do this kind of quicker and dirty, I still think this is the easiest one. But I think this one is very interesting, right? Poor little mice. But this is interesting. So I'd be like, okay, like, I guess like, I follow the same format I'm doing, right? So, steps would be like, we're on astrocytes and glycotransmitters, confirm their importance for memory, find nutrients that support both, right? That would be the next steps for that one. Now, the one cool thing, by the way, of doing this research, I mean, how long have I actually been going? I'm not 100% sure, but maybe like 20 minutes here. And we already have a bunch of potential mechanisms, right? So what's cool is even, you know, you pick one for now, you still have these, if you're smart, you'll save all these other ones. So the next time you have to do a memory, you know, offer, or you want to do a memory offer, you already have like a bunch of the resources, or you already have a lot of research for the mechanism, and you can potentially shortcut a lot of time, right? Because now you have to, this is like going to save you a bunch of time. Let me go ahead and pause this again. I'm going to adjust the thermostat real quick in my office. Honestly, heat's pumping in and I don't want to pass out, so give me a second. All right, so we have that one here. I'll keep it open for now. Long-term memory performance depends upon gating system. I like that they start this with a paradoxical question, right? Why do we remember some experiences for our entire lives but quickly forget others? It's from Scripps Research Institute, which is a good institute. Very recent. I think it's in Drosophila. I think it's like the fruit fly, isn't it? Yeah. Look at that. Look at me knowing shit. Okay. So, So this is really interesting to me, but I think for me this is too complicated. So while it's really interesting, and especially given genetic stuff and things like that, like I just sort of feel like well, I'm sorry, I'm thinking about this protein synthesis dependent long term memory. Um, I mean, I think what I would do, I think this is interesting, but I'm just gonna save it for like later because like I just feel like I'll make a note real quick. Like interesting, good paradoxical question, but a little complicated. Plus talking about genetic factors because the thing is, I don't, it's hard to say like you can't really sell a supplement, right? That's like altering your genes. Generally, you're not, I don't think the FDA or is going to like you doing that. But for an info product, it can work still potentially, right? If you're just teaching the system, but even beyond that, I don't know. But I do think it's interesting, so I would still save it because again, who knows? Maybe down the road, maybe I come back to this and have a really clear head and read it again, and it's like, oh crap, that actually totally works and is great. For now, though, I'm going to close it because I already have other ones that are much easier, right? Obviously, I love this already, although immune system certainly is on my mind because of, just like what's going on with coronavirus and everything like that. But like how the brain's immune system could be harnessed to improve memory. I mean, I just am already really, I don't know if I'm going to do this as my mechanism. I'll have to read about it, but I think that's a very interesting concept. Inflammation can send the brain's immune cells into damaging hyperdrive, an effect that has been linked to neurodegenerative diseases that affect memory, like dementia. A new study finds these same immune cells can also be activated to have the reverse effect, powering memory and learning. I mean, God, this is a really good one already. Kind of interesting that when it comes to memory, immune cells are known as the bad cops of the brain, but new research shows they could also be turned into good cops to power memory and learning. They're called microglia. Microglia. So that's interesting. So this is really interesting, right? So microglia, when they're altered, this is a good quote. Let me put chief investigator and senior author. So we want to get the person's name in case we want to quote them in the sales copy. Because I'm not the cognitive decline. I want to talk about treatments or preventing things, but this idea that optimizing how well we learn and remember can give a substantial performance edge at work and socially. Our study has for the first time shown a link between changes in the immune cells of healthy brains and improved cognitive function. So how do they do it? So it's kind of interesting to say, looked at how rats could do tasks when their microglia, whatever, or were knocked out. Made no difference, but when the microglia were regenerated, this led to this astounding result. Summary tests, the rats had performed 25 to 50% better than normal rats. The regenerated ones were a different shape, similar to the activated shape that these cells have when dealing with inflammation. So to me, this is interesting. brain's immune system. Also micro in the brain being activated and that increasing memory. So I'd look at, okay, like activating microglia, like what happens, memory, what they are, etc. You know, does this support short-term memory improvements? And then nutrients that help activate microglia. All right. I'll be honest with you, we probably aren't going to use this one. But let's still go ahead and just highlight it. I have a couple more to go through here. And again, I'm probably going to stick with that first one with the neural stem cells just for this example for simplicity's sake, but it is interesting to know that you have all this other stuff here, right? So, okay, some NIH, which is cool. Monitor brains replay memories in real time. Our brains use distinct firing patterns to store and play memories. This one's interesting. I don't think it's going to lend itself to like a nutrient offer necessarily, but just some interesting stuff about how memory works. More vitamin D may improve memory, but too much may slow reaction time. It's kind of interesting. More vitamin D can boost memory, but potentially slow reaction time. Well, this is interesting to me is because like I'm pretty positive that you're gonna find the vitamin D if we do the neural stem cell thing. Neural stem cell, like check this out. Neural stem cells, vitamin D. So watch. D3 enhances neural stem cell proliferation. Right, okay, well remember, neural stem cells, right, play an important role in the decline of our thought process and memory over time, right? They're really good. Maintenance is important for memory. Well, guess what? D3 enhances neural stem cell proliferation. There you go. There's one of the potential ingredients if we do this mechanism. Some other reasons I would probably do this mechanism, at least for this example, because it's the fastest and easiest one. Here's another one. This is not from an academic source, though, so I would just skip that. Although, just some more things about vitamin D3. So what I would actually do, just to kind of jump ahead here, let's go NCBI, because NCBI is a national health, like the National Institutes of Health's like website. So here's a bunch of stuff, right? Okay, so we looked at this one already. That one, academic. Role of vitamin D in regulating the neural stem cells, a mouse model with MS. Basically, vitamin D has the ability to trigger neural stem cells and thereby, in this case, it's helping with MS. We're not trying to do an MS product, but again, that's really interesting. Improves the differentiation of neural stem cells. Anyway, so the point is, I'm just keeping that stuff up for now, but going back to more vitamin D may improve memory. Too much slows reaction time. So obviously, there's a fine line. But again, then that's interesting. It makes sense because NSCs, right, are important for the brain. Vitamin D supports those things, and a new study shows that more vitamin D improves memory. Again, vitamin D is not really your star ingredient for a supplement, but this is worth mentioning or saving, right? I'd be like, SPG note, remember that vitamin D, and I happen to just know this about vitamin D, helps support neural stem cells. So interesting that it also supports memory. Makes sense. I mean, it's not the best note in the world. I'm curious if they mentioned stem cells here. But what's nice about this is like it's a huge human, or not huge, but look at how many people there were. But this is a good human study too. But again, it looks like you need to be careful with the dosage, right? To get the right amount. If you're older especially. And then here's the study. This study I'm going to save because since I might have vitamin D in my formulation, right? Study referenced. I'm curious how many women there were. But I don't know if it says it here. Anyway, very interesting. So, yeah. Okay. So if there's any other really interesting ones. Electric stimulation improves memory, which is kind of interesting because this is Mayo Clinic and Stanford found the same thing. But of course, we're not selling a product that stimulates the brain. So we'll just save this one for now. And then, yeah, I'll come back to this in just a minute here. All right, so electrical stimulation stuff, Mayo Clinic, interesting, but, you know, not relevant for us. Maybe another one I just saved. Just interesting because thing about electrical stimulation, similar to Stanford study I viewed earlier. This one from the Mayo Clinic. Chimpanzee thing is kind of interesting, but not really that interesting. This is just super fucking interesting. I'm not gonna, it's actually part of our product, but I mean like, this idea that memories can be transferred, I'm just gonna save that whole thing because it's just like super interesting. Memories can be transferred between animals by injecting, basically, you're literally injecting memories from one animal to another. I mean, that's fascinating, but not really for us. So All right, honestly, like with all of these, there's a bunch of interesting mechanisms to pursue, right? But so annoying when that comes in. There you go. Okay. I think what makes the most sense by far, especially for this example, is probably focusing on neural stem cells, right? So I'm gonna take this. Why am I choosing this one? Again, it's just the simplest, easy to understand, all that kind of stuff. So let's do a page break here. Okay, so neural stem cells. Just put like on neural stem cells. Oh, look at that, Science Daily came up again, but we'll come back to that. I didn't mean to click on that. Let's open this new link. There you go. Ugh, can't right click right now. Very annoying. Sorry about that, guys. I'm opening a bunch of stuff because I just want to get some like basic things about it, which Scientific America is, I know, going to be a reputable. This isn't like a citation, but it's going to be something good, like well written, well researched, legit. But then it's also like probably going to hopefully be written in a way I can understand. So let's go and just take that. Okay. Frank LaFera, University of California, Irvine, his colleagues showed that neural stem cells can reverse memory loss. Mice injected with stem cells developed far greater number of synapses or connections between neurons at the damage site that controlled the mice. I was trying to do that. That was a little helpful. It's a little bit too complex. Neural stem cell, largely undifferentiated cell originating in the central nervous system. Neural stem cells have the potential to give rise to offspring cells that grow to differentiate into neural and glial cells. Non-neuronal cells that insulate neurons and enhance the speed at which neurons send signals. So it's interesting, right? Scientists thought that the brain couldn't generate new cells like other parts of the body could. The generation of new brain cells in the adult brain was thought to be impossible. But then in 1998, neural stem cells were discovered in humans, found in the hippocampus, which we keep seeing come up. So let's do all the way from here. So we'll do this here. Undifferentiated stem cells, great. Kind of gives us everything we need, frankly. So really, what is it like? Undifferentiated cells in the central nervous system that can become new types of brain cells that support memory. So here's an easy hack or trick or whatever, right? So if that's the case, something that we did studies showing that neural stem cells support memory, which I know we have several of. But basically, as far as this goes, if we can basically find that, like, you know, do NSCs decline with age, right? Because if we can, then we can find that there's like ingredients that activate those, then like we could be in good shape here, right? So I'm literally gonna, so let's go, this was that I just had from Britannica. We know that when it's transplanted, improves cognition. When transplanted into an animal model, or improves cognition, animal study. But let's just save that. Adult neural stem cells in the mammalian central nervous system. Neural stem cells are present not only during the embryonic development, but also in the adult brain of all mammalian species, including humans. So this is kind of something we already know, but I'm curious if we're going to talk about how NSCs how they basically decline with age potentially. This kind of goes into plasticity, right? And neuroplasticity, which was like discounted. Even like 10 years ago, people would like scoff at neuroplasticity, and now it's like saying that, yeah, actually you can. So again, we know that I can put this back up here. It's a good breakdown of them, right? Self-renewing. And then the hippocampus again, right? It gets a little complicated. I won't worry about it too much, just where they're located. All what I'm looking for right now is to find something about how we lose them with age. I know I'm scanning, but I'm really just trying to find stuff about how they may how they may go down. So I'm just really gonna put like, neural stem cells decline age. And CBI. This is interesting, by the way. Calorie restriction protects neural stem cells from age-related decline. So, by the way, like, one thing you find when you do a lot of this health stuff is basically, like, intermittent fasting is basically the healthiest thing you could possibly do, and like all of your cells regenerate and all of this stuff. Which, by the way, I don't really do that much, but frankly, really should, because it's just like everything is like better when you do that. Okay, effects of aging on stem cells. Just search for neural, because that's what we're interested in. Nothing about neural stem cells here. Yeah, there is now strong evidence for the aging associated cognitive deficits, spatial memory deficits, neurodegenerative disorders caused by deterioration of NSC proliferation and differentiation enhancement. Right. So, okay, perfect. So we've got that. Let me put this link up here, because this is really important. The deterioration of proliferation. The reason that's important is because remember we were looking at vitamin D, which is up here somewhere. Unless I closed it. Did I? Well, whatever. I'll come back to that. But basically, we had all that stuff saying that vitamin D helps with proliferation, right? Of NSC proliferation. And now, this is what we were just looking at. So 2728. So let's see here. Aging results from reduced epidermal growth factor, represent blah, blah, blah. Let's just open that one. It's a new tab. And then 28. Either way, we have this that we can now cite. And that's really all we need for this one. Okay. Let's see if we see anything about NSCs here. Doesn't do a ton for me. So it doesn't do a ton for me either, but let's keep going. Well, studies suggest that increase in adult neurogenesis has beneficial, which is the creation of differentiation of neural stem cells, beneficial effects. The observation that aging has a negative effect on the proliferation of neural stem cells has prompted several laboratories to investigate ways of increasing neurogenesis. So, okay, great. Let's look at this real quick. So basically, this is really interesting to me. Essentially it's showing how when you're young, like you have like all this differentiation happening as you're older. It stops happening and depletion due to death, right, of the neural stem cells. So now you're like seeing more of them dying, and then eventually all die and your brain goes to shit. Your neuronal death, right? So this is really something I would probably want to save to put in my my mechanism. Hold on a second, let's do it like this actually. Just using the screen capture tool. So that's just a great visual representation of that, right? Perfect. All right. So when stem cells grow old, let's look at neural ones again. Like satellite cells, they decrease the numbers of age, which again contributes to decrease in neurogenesis. Let's just get a really good definition of neurogenesis, right? Okay. Neurogenesis is a process by which nervous system cells are produced by neural stem cells. Got it. That was from this one. Okay, so neurogenesis equals, what do we say it did? Just that. So cool, interesting. And we're finding the same thing, but just neural, right? I mean, whatever. We kind of also need declining, right? So we kind of get it. But I think at that point we have like enough research showing that they decline with age, right? With increased age, and dish begins to deteriorate, compromising functions and memory, right? So, okay, so in here, save that one. You know, just another saying that with increased age, NSCs decline and memory gets worse. Just one more. Perfect. This is interesting, but not for now. All right, perfect. So, okay, we need vitamin D. So, all right. So basically, like, what do we have here, right? So basically, we have that. We know that NSCs support memory. Let's actually do one more thing here. Neural stem cells memory support, right? Quick one here, pulling this up. This is different than that one, right? Yeah, basically. Memory. Crucial for spatial learning and memory. Contributing to new memory formation. alleviating depression, which I won't say that, but maybe supporting mood. Okay, good enough. So basically, like, here's your mechanism of the problem, right? The way your brain supports itself and regenerates is through adult neural stem cells. These are stem cells that come from your central nervous system and are found in the hippocampus of your brain. The hippocampus is the place is highly associated with mental performance and memory. The creation of the ongoing creation, aka proliferation of adult neural stem cells, has been shown to support working memory, spatial learning, and the formation of new memories. However, as we age, there is significant evidence suggesting that the creation, aka proliferation of decreases, and that with less disease and slowed down activity, brain activity also slows down and memory suffers. So the mechanism of the solution is to support the ongoing creation, aka proliferation, of NSCs in the brain. Now at this point, if you're doing an info product, you find ingredients in the diet that kind of does that, or you could get those ingredients and turn them into a supplement. Specifically, here are ingredients that help to support memory, or support the proliferation of NSCs and memory. So let's do this on a new line. All right. Now, okay, we already know vitamin D is going to be 1. Vitamin D3. Why do we know that? Remember we had before vitamin D3. I think what was the search term? Neural stem cells, vitamin D, right? Oh, NCBI. Actually, let's not. Yeah, NCBI works. Okay, so we have this one. This one. This is the same study, but actually, maybe it's not. No, they're different, actually. No, they're not. They're just published at different times. Okay. Sorry about that. There we go. There's this one, basically. Again, this is about MS, but like this is for now, so we say that. Another one. This vitamin significantly enhances proliferation of MSCs, enhances their differentiation in neurons, and blah blah blah. Astrocytes, which is interesting. This one enhances neural stem cell proliferation. Interesting, they keep saying about studying it in the context of MS, which is kind of funny, but not funny, but interesting. Basically, I'm not going to go through this whole thing, but just like, I know what it's going to say is that you say vitamin, I mean, just the title of it, right? Like, vitamin D3 enhances neural stem cell proliferation. This one for now, it's just the same idea. Improves the differentiation of neural stem cells. Great. Mouse model. And okay, so we have enough of that. Great. Now we need other. Now I'm sort of basically going to Google shit. Oh, one other thing too, actually, before we get to that. So remember we talked about vitamin D. Remember this study? So what does this study tell us? Well, vitamin D and proliferation. And there's this study. So showing that vitamin D supports memory. Now the reason I'm adding that in is because, okay, while it's important that like vitamin D, we want to, the solution is to support like the proliferation of the stem cells, right? But beyond that, there's like the whole factor of just then being like, and okay, well, what does that mean, right? Okay, it helps with these stem cells, but does that really support memory? And it's like, it does, because guess what? And then you're like, okay, vitamin D3 memory. Go back to NCBI. So I almost do like this, like vitamin D3 and memory. Right. So we know that like this one, right? Like deficiency equals worse memory. Population-based prospective studies. Same thing as above. bunch of things about deficiency. Randomized trial, healthy adults of D supplementation, 4,000 IUDs, system 2017. Nonverbal visual memory benefits from higher dosages of D3. They're consistent with what other studies have found. Higher D is particularly important for higher levels of cognitive functioning, specifically nonverbal. Great. That's excellent. And then find out what was the dosage. Let's see. You have to translate this to like the IUDs if you're gonna be doing the actual formulation, but perfect, good enough. Now let's go back to neuronal stem cells. So ingredients, natural ingredients that support neural stem cell growth. This ingredients. Showing you NCBI right now, honestly. Let's see here. Chinese herbs and their active ingredients for activating blood promote the proliferation and differentiation of neural stem cells. Of course, from Chinese medicine. But so here's what I would take this one. Like, okay, so other ingredients that support growth of neural stem cells. Okay, so it's basically going to say basically it's like I just kind of copy and paste all this stuff, right? So, okay, let's see. Rhodolia is a great ingredient in general. I don't know what this one is. Ginsengite RG1 is going to be part of, I think out of ginger, right? We'll find out. Astragalus, Alpharmos, blah, 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 blah. Panax. So just looking at this stuff, okay, so what I got here, I've got Rhodola, Panax, ginseng, astragaloside, which I believe is I forget what that is, but I think it's like it's some. We'll look at it in a minute. Ginkgo live, which I'm assuming is part of ginkgo biloba, safflower, gardenia, ginsenoside. Let's start with that, right? Okay. So why? And there may be that there's actual studies in here on these ingredients, but you able to get a bunch of answers for these ingredients in here, actually? Yeah, you do. Like, yeah, perfect. Look at this. So I don't know what this one is. I'm not exactly sure. What's Angelica, I wonder. But Rhodolia. Interesting. Gano Derma. They're mostly animal studies, but it's really interesting still. Okay, so I can basically pull a bunch of these studies from this, but just for simplicity's sake, okay, what is Angelica? So wild celery, okay. So Angelica, wild celery, Angelica, neural stem cells, NCBI. All right, let's see. So, Angelica, I saw ASP mentioned somewhere. I'm assuming that is for, yeah, Angelica polysaccharide, right? ASP can delay aging speed by protecting neural stem cells and promote neurogenesis. Um, Now, again, animal study, but pretty dope. Good. Angelica should be in our formulation. Well, I don't know, should be, but maybe. Or again, something that we add to our guide if we're doing an info product. What about this one? Here we go. I've got another one. Alleviate hypoxia and reduce MSC damage by maintaining cell viability, blocking apoptosis, which is death, and autophagy, which is like basically supporting the health of and like like recycling the cell kind of and self cleaning. So sweet, another one right there. So one's kind of longer, whatever. Scanning for neural stem cells. Whatevs. Let's see here. Basically, we can induce stem cell differentiation into neuron-like cells and produce less cytotoxicity, which is cool. So I'll save that one too. All right. Cool. So some here. Now, again, what about memory? Does it really help with memory? Angelica, memory, and CBI. Let's see what we get here. We can close some of these ones because we actually have a good list of leads here. All right, so check this out. Reduced like Alzheimer's type-related memory impairment in rats. So again, we're not gonna talk about Alzheimer's, but cool. What about this one? Okay, so put like Angelica memory. There you go. Mild cognitive impairments. Again, these are all animal studies, but pretty interesting. Now, one thing I might do, just another one. One thing I might do is try and find a human study, just another. And another. And another. Let's see if there's been any human studies. Alright, I had that one already. Rat model again. Mice. So might as well give you a little, like a little box that shows you like human studies. And we have it here. Let's see if I can just search human. It's one. All right, not a ton of human studies, but still interesting. So that's one. Now, basically, look. Here's what I'm just gonna do. I'm gonna wrap up here, kind of. But like, let me just show you a few more things. So, that was all with Angelica, right? And so, I just realized. I'm sorry. I had this on the other page for a minute, but yeah, basically, we're copy and pasting all this stuff. I went to like actual work mode of what I would be actually doing. So, I apologize, but. All right. But again, Angelica, wild celery. So we know Angelica. We know we have vitamin D. Okay, what about Rhodolia? Rhodolia, neural stem cells, and CBI. I'm gonna close a bunch of this other shit for now. Enhancement of neural stem cells after induction of depression in male albino rats. They received Rhodolia extract. Rhodolia group increased undamaged neurons. Blah blah blah. Looks like it helps in the improvement in the stimulation of NSC proliferation. So. Again, these are animal studies, but there are great human studies on Rhodolia memory, as you're going to see. Here's another one. May enhance the level of 5-HT and promote the proliferation and differentiation of neural stem cells in the hippocampus of depressed rats. Cool. Protective effect of Rhodolia extract on hippocampal neurogenesis. This is one of the main ingredients in Rhodolia. Reduction of ROS levels, which is like part of like free radicals and inflammation stuff, but in NSC death, increase in proliferation and differentiation. Hippocampal again, right? Boom. Okay. Sweet. And last one here for Rhodolia. More depressed rats. But results demonstrated that could help with this. Could induce neural stem cell proliferation. Great. So again, we're not going to say this is like the magical cure, but it could help support these things. Now, what about Rhodolia, memory, humans, NCBI? Let's see. Preclinical evidence. These are animal studies. Do we have any human studies? Animals, not humans. So no. Okay. Not a good one for me. This one helps a little bit. So that's about physical performance. But basically, this is going to, I think, reference some of the studies. So, double-blind random control trial, 36 male and female non-smokers, 21-24. Exercise. Delayed exhaustion, higher blood lactate, muscle, mental performance. Cool. So double-blind random controlled trial, 2008, 60 males and females between 20 and 55 with fatigue. Took Rhodolia, 144 milligrams. So actually took 4 of those a day, right? So significant improvement in fatigue scores and all that kind of stuff. So I popped this in here. Human trials. I can reference these later, but basically here's another one, 56 males, females, significant improvement in total fatigue. Mental fatigue was lower. Statistical significant beneficial physiological effect. This one had non-significant improvement, but significant improvement in general well-being and mental fatigue. So very interesting, it has a bunch of good stuff there. So, and then this is the last one, is this a human study? No, but that one referenced those. And then from that study we just looked at, we could then find the citations for those studies in here. And there we go, here's some of the double-blind studies, right? And then we put them here. So that was just for Rhodolia. Now, again, I'm not going to do, I'm going to stop here, basically. But like, what about on Rhodolia and memory? Let's do one more. Panax, ginseng, neural stem cells, and CBI. And basically what you're going to find is like, oh, look at that. It helps with neural stem cells too, right? So again, we would do that for the rest of these ingredients. Maybe you come across some other ones. Now you have your formulation. Obviously you have to find out the right dosages that are safe and non-toxic and that work together and all of that kind of stuff. Or if it was an info product, this would just be ingredients that you're sharing as part of your info product. But going back to your mechanism, right? Basically adult neural stem cells are like important for your brain and like how you, your memory and all that stuff, and the ongoing creation of them helps with these things as as we age, but as we get older, the creation of them decreases, and with those slow down, your memory suffers as well. So we want to support the ongoing creation of neural stem cells in the brain, and protect the ones that we already have. Doing so can support memory and mood and cognition, etc. And then we go like, here are the ingredients, right? So we have kind of like again, vitamin D3. We have Rhodolia. We'd have these other ones we could mess with, like Panax. We have Angelica, wild celery. So we just do the same way we did for these ones. We'd have our formulation, we'd have our mechanism, and we'd be all good with that. We've already done our research, so we kind of know the pain points of the market. You'd have, obviously, you'd ideally have your spokesperson, your story, you do all that from the brief, or you'd get it. But, yeah, hopefully that helps. I think this is fucking awesome and excited. And I pray to God that Loom saves this correct.